All right, there you go. Okay. You want to get started? Should we get going?
Yeah,
I got everything running here, so we're good to go.
you're the one who texts me. So.
Welcome to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansson.us. And now, it's time to talk Star Wars. I am Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello. Hello. Yeah, today we're going to be reviewing Star Wars sequel or prequel movie, Revenge of the Sith. And today is, of course,
happy birthday to you,
George Lucas's birthday, so we're giving him a happy birthday. And
but Kyle already ate his cupcake.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let me push this. So we don't have any feedback, but we want to encourage feedback. We need participation to make this happen. So you can email us at feedback.kylejohansson.us. We have a form you can fill out on our website. You just heard the website in the introduction. So, and then we've got questions of the week where you can make comments there. We also have, our videos are on YouTube, and you can make comments on YouTube as well. So just anywhere, feedback. We don't care if you're, bitching about us or whatever. We just want to hear, what we're doing wrong or what we're doing good or what your opinions are on what we're saying or anything, right?
You don't got it right. You guys suck.
Yeah, stuff like that. You guys talk too much and don't play any feedback, which you can't play any feedback if nobody gives us feedback. So, anyway.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to George Lucas. All right, so then the next thing is the news. It's time for the news. And we just have one thing this week in the news. I found an old article that was in the Wikipedia that it's actually was archived, but I found it in the Wayback Machine archive. So this one is about the new Jedi Order. And it was kind of brought up during the Book of Boba Fett because Luke Skywalker is the one that starts the new Jedi Order, and we see him building his little training temple or whatever that we saw in the sequel movies. And the new Jedi Order was restored and reformed Jedi organization in the wake of the Great Jedi Purge, which happened at Order 66. Jedi Knights were reduced in number to only a handful and were restored primarily under the leadership of Luke Skywalker, son of former Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. And it took very long time for him to start, seeing results in the beginning. It's years, disparate degrees of training, For Force sensitives, after the first attempt to train the new knights was thwarted by the reborn Emperor, Luke Skywalker initiated the first formal training school in decades, the Jedi Paramax on Yavin 4, starting with the initial group of 12 students. The order slowly grew to large numbers in stature, becoming a core part of the New Republic that sponsored it. Such as Empire Reborn. Members of the Order were involved in many of the key conflicts in the galaxy during the prime of the New Republic, including some of the First Order stuff. And anyway, so I mean that's kind of what it is. It's just Luke Skywalker redoing the Jedi Order, and Luke Skywalker kind of did it his way. He didn't do it the way it was done in the past. Partially because he didn't know how it was done in the past, because he got trained by Yoda directly. Didn't go through the normal stuff that they did. He did have all the Jedi texts and stuff that he got from Yoda, but he didn't go through the regular training like anybody else. So his stuff was a little different. It was more like we know in the past you had to be pretty young to even be trained.
A youngling.
Yeah, a youngling, and Luke Skywalker didn't necessarily agree with that. He thought that any young age could be trained. You just need to be trained. You don't need to.
You can't be a willy-nilly Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. It talks about Palpatine a couple times in here. Wars and stuff. And anyway, the first class consisted of 12 pupils, and it lists they actually has a list of who those people are. There's a person named Cam, Tony Sar, blah blah blah, Steer. Yeah, there's a bunch of weird names. Kyle Catum. I think there's a Kyle in there.
Wow, you were a Jedi.
Yeah, whatever. The other Jedi that soon joined after, one of them was named Mara Jade, which Scott Mara Jade in Legends and everything ends up being a woman that Luke Skywalker happens to date and marry. They get married and become husband and wife. Yeah, Mara Jade is his. She has all kinds of troubles though. She goes to the dark side, I think, at one point. But after his wedding, Luke Skywalker altered the instruction schedule. Yeah, so they trained young and old. Anyway, this article goes into it quite a bit more and talks about some of the battles and troubles they had and all this stuff. Like there was a certain species that went after the new Jedi Order because they didn't like him or anything like that, or of course Luke Skywalker's always got somebody coming after him.
Always.
So that's the news. Whoops. The news. There we go. The news. And we're going to do a commercial. Are you planning your next trip to Tatooine? Well, come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where our droids will spruce up your wagon. We'll service just about anything from Starfighter Corellian Y1300 freighter to a Vespa hovering scooter. If we don't have the part, we can get it. If you qualify for our special program, we'll provide you with any part our Jawas can get. Well, that's right. Come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where we can store fuel and upgrade your vessel. We're located at Tatooine's Mos Eisley Spaceport. Hangar 35. 35. Yeah. So that's that. So let's talk about some history about the movie. So The Revenge of the Sith was released on May 19th, 2005. It had a runtime of 140 minutes. Budget was smaller than the previous. It was 113 million. And the timeline is 19 years after the Battle of Yavin, or before the Battle of Yavin. I'm sorry. So we're compared to the other movie, we're just a couple years further in the future. See, and that's why the distance between the time between this movie and New Hope is like 15-20 years. And that's where the Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to go in. I think I read that it's like 5 or 6 years after this movie that Kenobi starts up at. But anyway, so that's that part. Star Wars was obviously written and directed this time by George Lucas. He didn't have any necessarily help. That was quoted as a director this time. It's 3 years after the first Battle of Geonosis, which is the battle where we first saw the droids and stuff and everything on that planet in the last movie, the Clone Wars. The clones were a massive part of the war, led by the Jedi. Chancellor Palpatine reveals his true nature as a Sith Lord during this movie, and his plot to transform the Republic into the Galactic Empire. Anakin Skywalker is seduced to the dark side, and Darth Sidious is killed. Jedi are eliminated. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Yoda are forced into hiding at the end of the movie. Anakin has basically he has 2 kids born that he has no idea about. He knows she's pregnant, but he doesn't know there's 2 of them. Okay, so it was released in 2005, the same day the first episode of the prequel trilogy is released, Phantom Menace. So this is the same day of the year that Phantom Menace was released also. It also premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, and was positively received there. It broke several box office records in the opening week to earn over $800 million worldwide, making it one of the top grossing movies of 2005. It's the second film that was filmed in high definition digital 24 frame system. The film was re-released on Blu-ray in 2011. On November 12th, 2019, the film was included in the launch of Disney Plus. So there's that. The next thing I got here is the opening crawl. So the War of the Republic is crumbling under attacks by ruthless Sith Lord Count Dooku. There are heroes on both sides, evil everywhere. In a stunning movie, the fiendish droid leader General Grievous has swept into the Republic capital and kidnapped Chancellor Palpatine. Leaders of the Galactic Senate and leader Palpatine and leader of Galactic Senate. As the separatist droid army attempts to flee besieged capital with their valuable hostage, 2 Jedi Knights lead a desperate mission to rescue the captive Chancellor. So there's that. And now we get into the movie. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So it's been 3 years since Attack of the Clones. Under the leadership of Count Dooku, who is the Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus, the Confederacy cyborg military leader General Grievous is the leader of the separatist droid army, and has brought war to Coruscant and captured the supreme leader General Palpatine. And we see at the beginning of the movie there's a big space battle out in space where we follow. In the beginning we see 2 Jedi fighter ships that they're following. They're zooming along the different big ships out there, and then they're attacking things, and they get some missiles shot at them, and the missiles follow them around, and one of the missiles detonates close to Kenobi's plane, and he gets all these buzz droids on his plane, and that's where we see Anakin comes up with his and kind of tries to sweep him off and knock him off, and get him off there. So it's of course Kenobi tells him he's flying like crazy and all that stuff, and you're gonna get us both killed and blah blah blah.
Well, first he tried to shoot him off
Yeah, he did. He tried to shoot him off in the back
from behind.
and I think he did get some of them off, but there was quite a few of them.
Got like 2 or 3 off. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them that he shot that was on the plane. All right, so this is their mission to rescue Palpatine. They're flying through the Armada, like we said, and they finally get off of there, and the droids, crawl on, and one of them crawls on Anakin's ship, and this is where we see R2D2 kind of attack it, and Kenobi tells R2 to hit the center eye or whatever, and he shocks it, and the buzz droid falls off.
Good job, R2.
And Obi-Wan reminds Anakin that the shields are still up on the ship that they're trying to board. And that's when Anakin kind of shoots a bunch of.
Well, I will take care of that.
Yeah, let me take care of that. And he shoots a few things and blows up the shields, but the docking bay doors start to close that they're trying to get in.
Blaster doors.
They end up crash landing onto the
good slide.
Deck.
Pretty good slide.
Yeah. They have to, of course, fight off some droids once they get in there. And they go up on the elevators to go do something. Elevator stops, of course, blah, blah, blah. And there's a R2, can you do this? And, R2's trying to hide from some other droids that are looking at the fighters and that are in the hangar. He ends up squirting oil all over one of them and then igniting it when he, turns on his lifter things, and they explode and such. They finally get to where they're going, and they see Chancellor Palpatine in his chair with cuffs on. And when I first saw that, that looks like what we see Palpatine when he's on the Death Star and stuff. He's in that chair, the same almost type of chair. So I'm wondering, if in that scene, if the cuffs were just kind of a front to make it look like he actually had him captured when he's not really captured.
Yeah. Well, we already know his power or whatever.
Yeah, he could break out of those cuffs easy. Yeah.
Oh, hold on, that's later in the
So then they're there. They get him out of the chair and such, and then Dooku shows up. Coming in and to attack him or whatever. And he's got a couple droids with him. And Anakin and Kenobi say that Dooku's not getting out of here this time, and because he got away last time, he's not getting away this time, and they're more prepared. And we get a little thing where Anakin says that he's twice as powerful as last time.
well, that's good.
Yeah, that's exciting. But Dooku kind of insults him by talking about his arrogance and stuff like that. And Dooku, after some fighting, Dooku throws the both of them with force throwing, and Kenobi hits a railing and falls down. Then Dooku forces the platform above to fall down and kind of pin Kenobi a little bit. And we see where Anakin is getting angry and is becoming more tense in his fighting with Dooku. And they choo choo, and then they a bunch, and he ends up in front of Palpatine, and basically Palpatine he ends up cutting off of both the hands of Dooku, and wielding two lightsabers. He's got Dooku's lightsaber and his lightsaber, and Palpatine tells him to kill Dooku. And this is where we see Dooku's like, what? And Anakin's like, I don't know if I want to do that kind of thing. That's not the Jedi way.
He's conflicted, but he
Dooku's like, what? What did I do? What's going on here?
Hey, boss, hold on a second.
Yeah. Yeah. And we, at this time, Anakin and those guys don't really realize that, Palpatine is the Sith Lord that's, above Dooku. So they don't really catch on to that yet. Palpatine pleading, okay. Anakin decapitates Dooku, and his body falls down, and his head rolls like a bowling ball. And this is where we see there's an explosion in this ship because it's being attacked from the outside too. And this is where the ship they're on, it's called the Invisible Hand, starts to actually fall down into the gravity of Coruscant and kind of, basically begin a crash landing towards the planet.
It's all over, but this crying.
Yeah, and they're scrambling to get through the ship to maybe someplace they can escape at, and they end up Anakin puts Kenobi on his back, and they end up going up the elevator again. And Kenobi wakes up while he's on Anakin's back while they're on the elevator, and we get a scene where Kenobi's wakes up and is surprised and scared where they're at. He's like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Because he looks down the elevator shaft and it's kind of a far distance. He's a little scared. Um, and Anakin tells him, "I'm rescuing you again, Master." And they end up crawling up to the command deck of the ship, and there's a battle there where they fight all the droids and stuff on the deck, right?
Oh.
And Grievous is there, and Grievous does it. They have a battle with Grievous a little bit. Regains control, so the ship gets Grievous's crew gets the ship back on course. Just as the Jedi are coming to the deck where he's at, the command deck. They right before they get into the deck, they're detected and they get in a ray shield. Remember that, where they're all trapped, even Palpatine's in the shield. And this is where they talk about R2 coming to save him, and Anakin's like, "R2 will be here in just a minute. He'll save us, no problem." And then we see R2 sliding through, bonk. He bonks into the wall, and a bunch of droids come up and get the better of him basically, and they're captured and brought into the bridge deck. But they're surrounded by all the droids and all that stuff, and electrostatic. And then they once they're on the deck, R2 creates a distraction by throwing lightning or whatever from multiple spots, and the two Jedi are able to get their lightsabers and break free. This is where, like I said,
I thought R2 had a backup lightsaber.
No. I mean, he had that one,
and he shot at him, or what? Or was the distraction enough that Anakin got the Dooku lightsabers in the?
No. Remember when they first got on the deck, the command deck? Grievous said he's going to add their lightsabers to his collection.
Yeah.
And he puts it in his sleeve. That's how they use the Force to get their lightsabers out of there.
All right.
R2 does the distraction by just kind of shocking a bunch of droids that were around them. They get their lightsabers from Force pulling it out of Dooku's jacket. They fight with these one droids that have these sticks that have these lightning bolts on them or whatever.
Yeah. Purple or whatever.
Yeah, purple. And they when they're fighting them, one of them, Obi-Wan Kenobi, cuts off the head, so he turns to fight another droid, and the one he cut his head off is still alive and fighting, so he gets surprised and has to turn back around and finish off that droid by cutting him up a little bit. And they have a battle with Grievous, like I was saying, and Grievous smashes the window and gets pulled out the window into space, which he's a droid, so the space doesn't kill him, but a lot of the other droids are pulled out, and then a blast shield goes over the open window, and they finish off the rest of the droids. Grievous ends up coming back on the ship and getting in an escape pod and escaping through an escape pod. And not long after that, there's another big explosion in the ship, and that's when Anakin and Kenobi start taking over the piloting of the ship. And Anakin's like, "We need to put all the flaps up. We need more flaps."
Open up all the flaps, all the put down the landing gear. Anything to get dragged.
Yeah, anything to get dragged. And the ship kind of falls apart in the middle. Which, that means they have no engines, because that back part is where the engines are. Of course, they have landing, controls and stuff like that, but the main engines fall off the back and kind of fall to the planet. They land an emergency landing strip on Coruscant. And everybody's safe and stuff. Just Anakin and Kenobi and Palpatine.
Another safe landing.
Another safe landing. On Coruscant now, Anakin is praised for his heroics. He's going back to the Senate or whatever with Palpatine, and basically he senses that Padme is in the shadows waiting for him. He says he's talking to Bail Organa. He says, "Excuse me a minute," and he leaves, and they go have a kissy, huggy. I love you. Blah blah blah. And then he's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she said, "Well, nothing. It's just something wonderful has happened." And that's when she tells him she's pregnant. I'm having a baby.
Uh-oh.
Dun dun dun.
Or she was like, huh? What?
Yeah. What? How'd that happen? When did we do that?
What?
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, this is great. I like this."
Let me check my date book. Hold on. No.
Yeah.
No. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then
happy.
He's happy about it, and this is the best day of his life, kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. And then we cut to a scene where Grievous is with the Separatists on Yapatu, and they're having a meeting thing, and we've got Gunray and Newt Gunray, the Genosan. Archduke Poggle is there. Tech Union guys, the Bankers Union guys there. There's just basically the same council that we saw in the previous movie. And Grievous gets one of his hollow image things of Sidious, which is Palpatine. And he says, I need you to move all of the council to Mustafar, so they'll be safe, because he thinks that the war is getting ready to come to them, and it's going to be over soon, and they want to be protected. Grievous is uncertain about that because Count Dooku is dead. And Sidious assures him that Darth Tyrannus was a necessary loss, and he'll have a new, far younger and more powerful apprentice soon. And then we switch to a scene where Anakin's having a dream, and he wakes up in a panic. And he tries to sneak out and not make a bunch of noise, but Padme hears him and follows him out, and he reluctantly reveals to her that he was dreaming about her dying in childbirth, and that he doesn't think he'll be able to live without her, and he vows not to let the dream come true. And then we see that Palpatine has requested Anakin to come visit. They meet in his office, and he tells Anakin that he's been granted more powers, giving him direct control of the Jedi Council. And this is where Palpatine kind of, twists the needle a little bit on him and says, hey, I understand that you don't trust your Jedi people, your masters and stuff, and tells him he's going to appoint him as personal representative on the council. And Anakin's of course excited. Oh, thank you. That means I get to be a master then. Yay, I want to be a master.
No.
And that's when we see a scene where he's in front of the council, and the council accepts the appointment but does not grant him the rank of master. And Anakin gets angry and says a few things, and Windu tells him to shut up and sit down. Just shut up. And the council continues on with their discussion about the war. And it's decided that Anakin will be assigned to protect the Chancellor, and Yoda will take a battalion of clones to reinforce the Wookiees on Kashyyyk, which is the Wookiee planet. Anakin is angry and disappointed, of course. Why didn't they do that? We see him outside talking with Obi-Wan, and he expresses how this is an insult. It's never happened before. Nobody's been on the council before. It's not a master. Why is this? I don't get it. I want to be a master, please. And we also hear Kenobi say that the council wants him to give him details on Palpatine. They want him basically to be a spy.
Spy.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan says he's not very happy about the situation either, but it's what the council wants. And we get a next scene where Anakin is running through a crowd in a building at the Opera House. And he comes upon Palpatine in the booth, and they do a little discussion about it, and this is where Palpatine says that they've been able to track General Grievous to the Yapatu system. And of course, Anakin's delighted because that means the war will be over, and yay! And he also twists that knife a little bit more and says, why weren't you the one sent out to go after Grievous?
Yeah.
Why? I can't believe they wouldn't send you. You're the best Jedi there is ever. And we see Palpatine go, say, leave us alone. We're gonna talk here. And him and Anakin talk some more, and he kind of seduces him a little bit. We get the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. And this is Palpatine kind of seducing him to the dark side, telling him that Plagueis had all kinds of powers over the midichlorians and could create them life itself and save life itself. So that's where we get the hint that possibly Anakin was created by Darth Plagueis. Anyway, Palpatine tells him that he wants Anakin to spy on the Council, since he knows that they're spying on him. And yeah, we get the Darth Plagueis. The Wise. Let's see what else. Where are we at? And Palpatine, or they talk about how Plagueis did this and that, and his power. He was very powerful Sith Lord, but his only fear was losing his power, and he eventually lost his power by his apprentice, who killed him in his sleep. Yeah, and it.
That's a chicken shit way.
Exactly, in his sleep.
In his sleep, that's chicken shit.
This is where Palpatine mentions the irony of Plagueis dying. When he could save people himself, but he couldn't save himself from dying.
Yeah.
And Anakin asks if he could learn about this power, and Palpatine says, "Not from a Jedi." Yeah, and then further getting Anakin to go away from the Jedi.
All riled up.
Yeah, and then we get a scene where Yoda is on Kayesh with the Wookiees, and he's in a council meeting. So we've got the fancy Zoom people that are weird blue images, and then we got the other people and stuff all around the table, and they're talking about stuff. And Anakin relays the information about Grievous being on Yapatu, and explains that Palpatine has requested he be the one to take care of Grievous. And this is when Windu says the Council will decide who goes where and what, not the Chancellor. And Yoda believes a master with more experience is needed to confront Grievous. And Kai Alda Mundi, which is the one that looks like he's got a weird cone head thing going on there. He agrees, and they nominate Obi-Wan Kenobi to go. The rest of the council agrees, and they send him. Yoda is defending the Kayesh on the planet, and we see them. Yoda gives the order for them to attack because he got a report that the droids are powering up their power systems. So we see a small little battle there where the droids are coming out of the water and they're attacking. The Wookiees are charge, rah! And then we see Anakin walking Obi Kenobi to his Star Destroyer before he leaves on his mission. And then, Anakin kind of apologizes a little bit to Obi-Wan, and, I'm sorry, Master.
He was kissing up.
Exactly. He was kissing up, was what he was. But he's like, I'm sorry, Master. I was arrogant and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And Obi-Wan tells him that this is probably just a wild bantha chase. Wild goose chase, wild bantha chase. Right, and he's kissing up to him. Obi-Wan calls Anakin strong and wise and tells Anakin he is very proud of him. And while he trained him since he was a boy, he is a far greater Jedi than Obi-Wan could hope to be. And Obi-Wan encourages him to be patient because they will make him a master soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, goodbye. The Force be with you. Goodbye. 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 And they leave.
Goodbye now.
Yeah, we see Obi-Wan flying off, and landing, or his ship comes in, and he goes down basically a cave or something in the ground at this planet Yapatu, and he lands and is getting fuel and stuff, and he's talking to one of the representatives there, and he's told that Grievous is on the 10th level. And that they're holding them, they're kidnapping them and holding them hostage. And this is where Obi-Wan makes his trek up to there, and he finally gets up there and he finds them. He listens to him for a little while, and they have the council has a conversation. And Grievous tells them their ship is awaiting for them to go to Mustafar. And they all start to leave, and this is where Kenobi decides to just jump down and say hello there, to surprise Grievous, and they have a little battle. Grievous first sends out a couple of his droids to fight him a little bit, and then of course, they are no match for Kenobi. And there's a battle between them, and we see, Kenobi cut off one of Grievous's hands, and then he cuts off another one, and he's down to 2, and they're fighting, and he throws Grievous, and Grievous loses his lightsabers, and he flees to one of those weird wheel bike things, and Obi-Wan pursues him on Boga, which is that weird animal that yeeks and creak and makes weird noises, or whatever. That weird animal that he uses for transport.
Yeah.
And the the jumping and the flying and stuff. Obi-Wan actually drops his lightsaber while he's chasing Grievous, and we see Commander Cody find it and pick it up. And then we go back to Coruscant, and Anakin tells Palpatine that Grievous has been found. Kenobi has engaged with Grievous, and they talk about how Anakin should be there, and we get a conversation about Palpatine's knowledge of the dark side of the Force. And we learned that his mentor was Plagueis. And that's when Anakin's like, "What? You're
what?
What?" And
you're the Sith Lord we've been looking for.
And Palpatine tells him the dark side can save Padme from death. And that's when he realizes that Palpatine is Darth Sidious, the Sith they've been looking for. And this also means that Sidious was behind the engineering of the war, and caused the deaths of Plagueis and Dooku, and has deceived the Jedi and the Republic all along. And Anakin lights his lightsaber up, zoom, and he threatens to kill Palpatine and expose the deception to the Council. But he still wants to save his wife, Padme, and he believes that Palpatine is the only one that can help him do that. So he kind of turns his lightsaber off and kind of lets him be. And then we get back to Yapatu, where Kenobi's still fighting Grievous, and he catches up to him. And Grievous is using one of those lightning staff things that has the purple stuff, static stuff on it. And Obi-Wan grabs it and disables the wheel bike thing.
Yeah.
And they have another little battle. Grievous draws a blaster pistol thing and fires a few times. But Obi-Wan Kenobi knocks it out of his hand and knocks Grievous down. And we see during one of the battles, Kenobi takes his chest plate and kind of spreads it a little bit.
Yeah.
Grievous gets a little pissed off about that and kind of beats him around and throws him a little bit. And he slides over the edge and grabs onto the edge of the platform. And Grievous moves in to kill Obi-Wan. And this is where Obi-Wan uses the Force to retrieve the blaster on the deck and fires multiple shots into the chest plate until Grievous catches on flames and explodes, and flames come out of his eyeballs and his head, and he just boom and explodes and falls to the floor dead. So,
The blaster's so uncivilized.
Yeah, he says, such an uncivilized weapon. He throws it down to the ground. And then we see Anakin returns to the temple, and Windu tells Anakin that they have been informed that Obi-Wan has destroyed Grievous, so they will be going to the Senate to ensure Palpatine gives back the emergency powers. However, Anakin reveals that Palpatine is the Sith Lord they've been looking for, and is not likely to give up his powers.
Power easily.
And Windu is shocked. He's like, what? How can that be? Why didn't we detect this? Anakin reconfirms that he knows firsthand that Palpatine is the Sith Lord. He knows the ways of the dark side. He's been trained on the dark side, and he's absolutely sure. And this is where Windu's like, oh, our worst fears have been realized. The Jedi's order needs to, we need to do some things so we can survive. Because he has a premonition that, someone is out to destroy the Jedi Order. And Windu says that he has to go. There's no way he can't go to confront Palpatine. And Anakin says he wants to go, but Windu tells him he has to stay there and wait for him.
No, cannot go. You're in timeout. You go back to your little room.
Yeah, you got to stay.
Room, you sit and you stay.
Exactly.
Good boy. And if you do this, you have won my trust.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. So Anakin's waiting in the council. Windu and Fistu and Kalor and Cecitine board the gunship and head to Palpatine's office. So he's sitting in the council chambers, remembering Palpatine promising to stop the death that he sees in his dreams of Palpatine or Padme dying. And he hears a voiceover that says, if the Jedi kill me, then your chances of saving Padme will be lost. And he decides to rush off after the 4 Jedi and stop them, whatever. And then we see a scene where Windu and the 3 arrive. Windu declares Palpatine is under arrest, and they all light their sabers up zoom, 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 and
Palpatine just goes crazy and does the
yeah,
twirling, flying thing. And
yeah. We're supposed to think that that's because he has more knowledge of fighting than they do, or whatever.
yeah,
I don't
but
know.
twirling, flying thing. That's just
Yeah, he's crazy. He's yeah.
in one slice. He kills one of them or two of them. I mean, were there four?
There was 4, yeah.
It's almost like those other Jedi's were a pussy.
Yep. So it says here, Sidious pulls his lightsaber and hurls himself at the Jedi with a screeching war cry. Yeah. This is where he gets that weird look on his face. I always think during this time he's got that weird look on his face where his lips are kind of like and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't start changing there. I don't think that's we'll get to that one part where he really changes. I'm only going like,
yeah, that's right here too. So, like you said, he kills the other 3 Jedi, and it's him and Windu that are left, and they're fighting for a little bit, and Sidious breaks open the window, and kind of falls to the ground. Shatter the glass, and Windu kicks Sidious, leading him to fall down, losing his lightsaber. And just then, Anakin arrives. Dun, dun, dun. And Windu holds Sidious by his blade point and declares Sidious has lost. But the Sith Lord then unleashes a torrent of force lightning. And
but first he starts. Well, yeah. Does he start crying about it?
I'm so helpless. Yeah, and Windu deflects all the force lightning with his blade. Some of the energy gets back to Sidious, and that's when we start to see him become deformed. He kind of gets like crazy wrinkles and such. His skin sags and become yellow.
When he started going, I lost any power. I can't. I don't think he lost any power.
No, he didn't. His eyes start to turn yellow and red around the edges. And like you said, he claims he's really weak. Oh, I'm so weak. Anakin, help me. Please save me, Anakin. And Windu has decided that he needs to die and is going to kill him. And Anakin argues that Palpatine must stand trial. It's the Jedi way. It's what we're supposed to do. And we see Windu kind of, hey, maybe that's right, but he can't live, because if he's alive, he's gonna figure out a way somehow to get back in power. And Windu raises his blade to kill Palpatine, and this is where we see Anakin throw his lightsaber out and block Windu, and Anakin cuts off Windu's hand. He's got his saber on it in his hand, so he loses the saber. And this is where we see Sidious, or Palpatine, cackling with glee, and he attacks Windu with his force lightning again and says he's got unlimited power. Arr! And shocks him and throws him out the window with his force lightning, and he's thrown several hundred feet out. And Anakin is surprised and shocked by Palpatine's actions, and that he has betrayed the Jedi by allowing him to live. And this is where he pledges his allegiance to Sidious. He gets on his knees and says, "I'll do whatever you want. I promise I'll do it all. I'll do whatever you want. I'm such a baby." And Palpatine says, This is the only way he's going to save his wife. And he names him Darth Vader and tells him to rise. And then he gives him an order to go to the Jedi Temple and do what must be done. And that's basically killing everybody in the temple. And then he wants him to go to Mustafar and take out the Separatist Council as well. Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy. And then we see a scene where Vader is in front of a troop of clones who are the 501st Legion on the clone army, and they attack the temple and kill everybody in sight. And we see a scene where he comes upon the younglings and Master Anakin, what are we going to do? Says one of the younglings. And zoom, zoom. He kills them all. And this is where we see Sidious do the Order 66. You there? What happened? There he is. This is where we see Sidious give Order 66 to kill the Jedi because they're enemy of the Republic.
Hello.
Empire. Hello. You're back.
My dad called.
Oh. Cool.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you good. Can you hear me? So
Yeah.
we're at the point where Palpatine gives Order 66 for the first time.
Okay.
And we see several scenes where different clone troopers get the hologram telephone call saying Order 66, execute Order 66. And we see several Jedi being killed and attacked by the clones. Yoda is feeling that people are dying. He's like, oh, and he drops his cane and stuff. Kenobi is shot at and falls down into whatever the water with his weird sounding animal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Obi-Wan, has one of those air breather things on, so he's able to swim out, away from everybody and find Grievous's ship, and he escapes on Grievous's ship. But then we see more scenes of different Jedi, Felicia, Ava Secura, Kato, Nemes, Plow Clune, all getting shot and killed by different Jedi. Speeder bike is destroyed. On Kashyyyk, Yoda is overlooking the ongoing battle, and we see Commander Greer behind him receive the order, and him and a lieutenant sneak up upon Yoda, but Yoda senses something is wrong and beheads them both. And we have Taraful and Chewbacca help Yoda escape the planet. They lead him out to a field where Yoda's little ship is, and Yoda takes off on the ship.
Yes.
And, that's when we first hear Yoda say Chewbacca's name is out in that field. We don't know for sure it's Chewbacca, but he says, goodbye, Chewbacca. And we see Bail Organa arrive at the temple to witness the slaughter of Padawan Zet Jukas by a squad of troopers. Organa is horrified and flees the scene, and he flees in a ship called the Tantive 3. Attempts to make contact with any surviving Jedi. Both Obi-Wan and Yoda survive Order 66 and are picked up by Senator Organa. And they decide to return to Coruscant to recalibrate the Jedi beacon that's telling all the Jedi to return to Coruscant when it's really a trap by Darth Sidious who killed him. Kenobi recalibrates it to warn the Jedi to stay away. And he can't leave the temple without seeing who did the how everything happened, who did it. And he sees his worst nightmare. He sees that it was Anakin. How could he do that? He was such a good boy. He's a good boy. Why would he do this to us?
It's always the good ones.
And we see a scene where Anakin returns to Padme at her apartment, and she's all like, "Oh, I saw the temple being attacked. I was afraid you were killed." And they all have a tender, kissy, lovey moment. And he tells her the Jedi tried to take over the Republic, and they're traitors to the Senate. He asks for her loyalty to the Chancellor, and tells her that he will go to the Mustafar system where the remaining Separatists have gathered to end the war. Even though killing Grievous is supposed to end the war, but this is supposed to be the last step to end the war. And then we see, we got the weird Zoom hologram again. Vader or Sidious informs the council that Vader is going to take care of them once he arrives. And of course, they're unaware that he's coming there to kill them all. And he arrives and is greeted by Gunray, but the apprentice quickly traps them by doing his zoom and closing the door thing with the Force, and he begins to slaughter every single person in the room, killing kills them all, and a couple of them plead, and he doesn't care. You're dead. And this is where we see Anakin's eyes turn yellow and red with the dark side. And we switch to the Senate holding a special session where Palpatine tells them the Jedi tried to overthrow the Senate, and he's reorganizing as the Galactic Empire, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, what? What's the difference? And he's going to create a safe and secure society. And the majority of the Senate screamed for the approval. And Padme and Bail Organa are sitting there together, and they're shocked about it. And this is where we get the quote from Padme that says, "So this is how liberty dies, with a thunderous applause." Dun, dun, dun. Okay, and in the meantime, Obi-Wan and Yoda are at the temple. This is where they view the recording and see that Vader. He gets to see the scene where Palpatine names him Vader, and he goes through and kills all these younglings and everything. And Yoda gives him the mission to track down this Anakin or Vader, and he, Obi-Wan's like, he's just like a brother to me. I don't know if I could do it. Don't make me do it. And Yoda says it has to be done. And to use his feelings to find Vader. He is consumed by the dark side and is no longer his friend Anakin. He is now Vader. And then we see a scene where Obi-Wan visits Padme he tells her that Anakin has turned to the dark side and killed younglings and everything. And she's like, no, that's not him. You can't do that. He says, I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen the recordings. It's him.
Never.
And he asks Padme to tell him where Anakin is gone, and she refuses. She says, no, I can't. I can't betray him. And this is where Obi-Wan realizes that Padme's child is Anakin's child. Which we already knew. And then we see on Mustafar, Vader is surveying the landscape and he's weeping about what he's just done, and knowing he cannot turn back from the influence of Darth Sidious. And we go back to a scene where Padme is sneaking off, leaving Coruscant, and departing for Mustafar to find her husband and the truth. Obi-Wan secretly stows away on board the ship. He sneaks in and goes into a storage bin on the ship. Her ship finally lands on Mustafar, and Padme greets Anakin or Vader, and they're both smiling, so happy. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. And Padme reveals her conversation with Obi-Wan, and he tells her it's only a lie, but does not deny the accusations. Whatever. And Padme begs her to run away from everything and raise their child in peace. And Anakin, mad with power, claims that they no longer have to run away. He can overthrow Palpatine, and the two of them can rule the galaxy together. They can rule it together. Da-da-da. And Padme is like, oh, you've changed so much. What's going on here? And she backs away, scared and tearful, and begs him to stop, insisting that she still loves him. As she pleads, Obi-Wan steps out of the secret hiding spot and is standing at the top of the ramp. And we see Padme. He's mad at her, and
he threw her.
He starts to force choke her.
Yeah.
And that's when Obi-Wan intervenes and orders Vader to release her. And she gets knocked down unconscious. Turning in his anger towards Obi-Wan, Vader accuses him of turning his wife against him. And Obi-Wan says, you've done that yourself. You've let himself be twisted up with the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. And Vader's not listening. He's like, you're just trying to trick me. He has brought me to his new empire. We're gonna rule and kill and yay.
Yeah.
And
Obi-Wan's like, you're not.
Obi-Wan's like, oh, I can't believe this. And he does his little fighting stance. He goes zoom, and it's like, let's go.
He's a poser.
Yeah. And Vader fumes and stuff. Enemies they begin to duel a little bit, and we switch over to a scene where we're in Palpatine's office, and Yoda confronts Darth Sidious. He tells him that he tells Yoda that he has a new apprentice, and this is where we see him use Force Lightning on Yoda to push him against the pillar. And then we switch where we see Obi-Wan and Vader battle over a bridge, making their way through the hallways, and fighting and stuff. And then we go back to Sidious and Yoda. So we're getting two epic battles going on at the same time. We're getting Obi-Wan and Anakin, and Yoda and Sidious. And Sidious tells Yoda the Jedi will be no more. The Jedi Master stands up and pushes himself backwards against the desk, and they engage in a tense battle with their lightsabers and Force Lightning abilities. Back at Mustafar, Obi-Wan and Vader battle in the conference room. Vader attempts to force choke the Jedi Master. And Obi-Wan loses a lightsaber after he gets kicked in the stomach, but retrieves it quickly. Then, of course, we switch back to Yoda and Sidious. They're in the chamber, and Sidious rides the elevator that takes him on the chair that goes up into the council, and they begin to fight up in there. And we see Sidious do the little thing where he spins the chairs and throws them at Yoda, and Yoda does the same, and he catches them and drops them to the ground, and it's such a force battle with their big force powers. And then we go back to Vader and Obi-Wan. They're fighting in the command center. The Separatists are dead on the floor while they're fighting, and Obi-Wan's like, "What happened here?" One of their battles deactivates a shield at the facility, and they exit out into the wide open and continue to battle outside. It's getting hot in here. And of course, we go back to Yoda and Palpatine. Sidious hurls Senate pods again, and he blasts Yoda with Force Lightning. And the Jedi Master, he causes him to lose his lightsaber. And Yoda redirects the Senate pods back up to him. And boom, and there's a couple explosions and so on, and then we switch back to Obi-Wan and Vader again. The epic battles continue. They fight with their lightsabers, and then they jump on a bridge, walk across some weird stock things. Lava blasts towards them, forcing them to take cover from the raining debris, and cuts off the arms that they're standing on. And of course, we go back to Sidious and Yoda. They're throwing stuff around. Yoda falls to the Senate floor, leaving his cloak behind. With Bail Organa's help, Yoda flees the Senate building, going into exile. Back on Mustafar, we see the battle finally wrap up between Obi-Wan and Anakin, Vader. They're fighting, and they jump into these little things that are floating on the river of lava. And platforms they pursue, they go to a lava. This is where Obi-Wan eventually jumps off of one onto land, and he appeals to his friend and he says, "You've lost now. I have the high ground. That
You
Anakin.
cannot make that jump.
You were my friend and my brother. Oh, I'm so sad. Why did you do this?"
Jeez. Why are you making me do this, Darth Vader?
And they onto the shore. Obi-Wan warns him again, and Vader yells back, "You've underestimated my power," and he leaps into the air to attack Obi-Wan, and this is where Obi-Wan slices off his arms and legs, his left arm and legs. He tumbles to the ground and rolls to the stop at the edge of the lava river. We see Vader is helpless and now fully consumed by the dark side. His body is smoking as it gets closer and closer and begins to catch on fire. And this is where Obi-Wan says, "But you were the chosen one. Oh, you're the chosen one. You're supposed to finally get rid of everything, and we're supposed to be all harmonious." And of course, as he catches on fire, Vader is screaming in pain. "Ah, I'm on fire. Ah." And we see Obi-Wan kind of turn away because he can't watch. And, he basically leaves him because he's pretty much dead. He's not willing to, finish him off. And, Obi-Wan sneaks off and leaves the planet. As he is getting on the ship, 3PO says Padme is on board and she's not doing very well. And we see them on the ship, and she's giving birth, screaming and and
Well, they flying some other.
One comes out and she says, "Luke, Leia." She names the kids, and we see the Emperor land on Mustafar, where he gets the shock troopers to rescue Darth Vader and put him in a stasis pod. And we also see Yoda is meditating. He hears the spirit voice of Qui-Gon Jinn that tells him there's a way to merge the Force and retain consciousness after death. And there's child born. And we see, not long after the children are born, they're, Anakin's in a medical bed and he's, getting legs screwed on him, and then they put the helmet on. Hear all the sound effects and everything. Vader begins to breathe through the mask. Wide awake and unanesthetized. And we see Padme breathing her final breaths, saying that there's still good in Anakin. She dies believing the man she loved has killed all these people and betrayed the Jedi Order and the Separatist Council. And then we get a scene where Vader is the bed he's on is coming up for him to stand up. And Palpatine is there, and we hear him say, "What happened to Padme? Is she okay? Is she safe? Where is she at? What's going on?" And Palpatine's like, he. You killed her in your rage, young Jedi. And he's sitting back there in the corner, smiling as Anakin Vader has a fit. Everything in the room begins to compress and squeeze and explode. You know, all the bottles and everything is
robots.
Yeah. And he rips himself free from the table. No! We hear him scream.
No.
And like I said, Emperor's back there going, You can see him in the background with his little smile.
I manipulate everybody.
And then we're back on the ship with Obi-Wan and Yoda and Bail Organa. They're sitting at a conference table and they agree to preserve that Padme died pregnant and didn't give birth, faking the children's death. And this is where they decide that Bail is going to take the girl and Obi-Wan is going to take the boy to his family on Tatooine. And he will watch over and wait when the time's ready for for the children to do their part. Yoda tells Obi-Wan that he needs to study the techniques of Qui-Gon Jinn and learn to achieve immortality.
That's what he needs to study. Yeah.
And Bail Organa leaves with R2-D2 and C3PO and tells the captain to wipe the memory of the protocol droid. And C3PO is like, "What? No, don't do that. What did I do to deserve this? Oh my gosh." And then we cut to a scene where on Naboo, Padme's funeral is taking place. Her hands clasp the little necklace thing that Anakin gave her. And our body still appears pregnant. And there's a deleted scene, it says here, is where we see Yoda landing on Dagobah. And he is upset about basically his penance for failing to defeat Sidious. And then we see a scene where we see Tarkin for a second, and then the Emperor and Vader are overlooking the building of the Death Star. It's very, construction looking. There's not hardly anything there. And then we see a scene where Bail brings the girl to his wife, Queen Bria, and on Tatooine, Obi-Wan brings Luke to the new family, his uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. And Obi-Wan leaves on an EOP, which is that weird animal that's got the long trunk nose.
Yeah.
And I wanted to point out that was the same animal that was pulling Anakin's pod racer that farted, and everything. Everybody thought that was funny. I looked those guys up, and they have a propensity to fart a lot. Those animals do. And if you're riding in a pack of them, you should be riding the one in front because you're not gonna like the smell if you're riding in the back per se. Obi-Wan leaves and to head to his exile. And we see a scene where Owen and Beru are holding Luke, and they're watching the sunset of the two suns at Tatooine. And that's the end of the show. We see the end of the prequel trilogy, and the credits roll. What'd you think about that? Was that a pretty good movie, or what do you got your thoughts on that? Pretty good movie. It was pretty packed full of stuff too. They tried to jam a lot in there. I think almost maybe too much, but I thought it was satisfying. It was I don't know. I think my out of the three, my favorite is probably Attack of the Clones, but this one's a close second. So
yeah, Attack on the Clones was good, and this one's good too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so what do you think the question of the week should be? I don't have one yet.
You don't have one yet? What?
So I guess the question of the week would be
when did Darth Vader know he had kids?
Yeah, when does Darth Vader find out he's got kids?
What moment in time did Darth Vader know?
Which I think we see in the next movie, maybe. No, it's not until Return of the Jedi that he finds out. Officially finds out, because I think he's suspicious that he does, because she was pregnant and he doesn't know what happened, and he doesn't feel like his feelings don't show that he that the children died. He would have felt that or something weird. So I think he knows that he has suspicions, but we don't know that. And I think this Obi-Wan Kenobi thing on Disney Plus will probably see some of that, maybe. Because there is several books and stuff where he's searching and looking for his kids and stuff, because he goes and visits her grave and stuff at some point. I would be willing to bet that we see some of that in this Obi-Wan Kenobi, where Darth Vader visits the grave and stuff, and I think there's a scene where he when he's visiting the grave, he touches the necklace that he gave her that she's got around her hands or whatever. So yeah, that's a good question. I think when does Vader know and realize that he's actually has kids that are alive out there? That he's a unwilling father of sorts, I guess. All right, so let's push this button here. We definitely need your feedback. We went over this entire movie. We've gone through the trilogy. We just want you to kind of give us your opinions on what we've said, what we've done. We've got questions of the week. We had one last week, which was a different question. And this week we've got one where we want to know when you think Darth Vader realizes that he's got kids. So send us through the questions of the week. We've got a feedback form on our website you can fill out. This will be on YouTube probably. If we were in real time, it would probably be Sunday, because I've got a bunch of stuff going on tonight that I won't be able to get them up on YouTube today. But yeah, we've got a baseball game today.
Oh, the Bananas.
No, they're done with the Bananas.
Okay.
It's opening weekend for the Monarchs, so I'm going to be. Their first game was Friday. The Bananas played last weekend.
Are they like the Globetrotters and they played? I thought they played the Monarchs.
They did, but that was last weekend.
Okay.
This weekend they're playing the Sioux City Explorers. So anyway, we're going to be doing that. I hope, because we've been able to do this recording with all the audio and stuff that we've been missing the last couple of weeks, I hope that tonight I'll have the audio up for people to start listening to. Because honestly, all I have to do is cut out the chatter we did at the beginning and the chatter we're at the end, and that's it. Everything else is going to stay. So that'll do that. Next week we're going to be reviewing from the original trilogy. Star Wars was the original name, but it was eventually renamed to Star Wars: A New Hope, Episode 4. And that'll wrap up our rewatch of everything to do with Kenobi. So we watched the 3 movies plus the New Hope. And on the 27th, what I'd like to do, Scott, is we'll be in person. So even I'd like to try this option where we can live stream to YouTube. So I don't know if anybody will be watching besides us or whatever, but I want to at least try it so we know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's built into this Zoom software now with this license that I've got. I can live stream to YouTube at the same time we're recording, which is kind of cool. And maybe going forward, we'll just use that live stream video as the video that we put up on YouTube instead of what we have done. So what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Still good for Saturday?
Yeah.
Hey, my phone's on
Good for
fire.
Saturday.
Anything else you got?
No. At least it's not going to be 100 degrees when you go out there.
Yeah, it's going to be warm. It's cooler than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Cooler than it was yesterday, but yeah, I've already got bottles of water in the freezer to take because they let you take water.
Mm-hmm.
And I stuck a towel in the freezer too to, got it all wet and stuck it in the freezer.
Good job.
So I can take that with me too. So I think we'll be all right, and we're mostly in the shade the whole time too. So I think when we first get there, they open the gates at 6. And I think when we first get there, we're in the sun a little bit, but it goes to shade pretty quick. It's got the overhang of the suites and stuff, so it gets in the shade pretty quick. So, all right, I'm going to run this outro. Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansson.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or any or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited. Prohibited. I am Kyle Johansson.
Do it.
This is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now.
Goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Happy birthday, George Lucas.
Yay.